Hello, beautiful people. Another beautiful day. The rain fell like a few minutes ago, and so I decided to come out here to film this video. I feel like it's always, you always got to expect it to fall whenever it reaches this time of the year, hurricane season. And especially since I live in Florida, it's even more to be expected. But regardless, I still decided to come out here to film this video. And I really hope y'all are doing well. I really hope y'all are taking care of yourselves, taking care of your mental health, taking care of your physical health, and just living life in general. I really do hope that. But I wanted to talk about something very important today, right? This video is gonna be a very important video, right? Especially if you're on the path of, I guess, staying true to who you are. You're beginning to walk in your identity, right? You're no longer hiding who you are from the world, and you're beginning to show up to the world as you are, right? I remember I started my journey of doing that a few years ago. And what I'm about to talk about is something that I experienced. So I'm pretty sure this video is going to be helpful for those who are on that path as well, right? And so one of the greatest skills that you can develop in this life, right? One of the greatest skills is to be comfortable being disliked, right? And when I say being comfortable being disliked, I'm not talking about being comfortable being disliked for being a bad person, right? I don't mean, do messed up shit to people, right? And then being comfortable being disliked. Because if you do messed up shit to people and you're disliked, then you deserve it. Now, when I say being comfortable being disliked, what I mean is that be comfortable being disliked for being yourself, right? Being comfortable being disliked for staying true to who you really are, right? And see, once you begin to embark on the path of being yourself, once you begin to start walking in your light, right? You are going to realize that there are a lot of people who simply are not going to like you, right? There are going to be a lot of people who, in a sense, have some sort of negative feelings and resentments towards you, right? And that's something that I experienced because you have to understand this, right? Most people have been putting on a facade, most people have been faking, most people have been hiding who they are from the world for so long that whenever they see someone else actually being themselves, it creates some sort of negative feeling towards that person, right? They begin to resent that person because they see that person doing something that they are afraid of doing, right? Most people in this world have spent most of their lives walking in darkness. And when I say darkness, I simply mean, turning a blind eye to their light, turning, their backs on who they truly are and trying to fit into what society expects of them, right? And so whenever they see someone else with the courage, right, with the bravery, right, to say that I'm not going to pretend for any longer, I'm going to show up as I am, they feel some type of way and because that's something that, you know, they can't see themselves doing. That's something that, you know, they've been, I guess, running away from for so long, right? And very often we allow these people, we allow their words, we allow their actions to, you know, deter us, and then we go back into the mindset of hiding who we truly are from the world, right? We go back into the mindset of pretending to be someone else, right? And what I want to say to you is, and this is very important, right? Never dim your light to go sit in the darkness with other people. Never dim your light and go back to pretending just because someone says something about you, just because someone says, they don't like your personality, just because someone says they don't like who you truly are, right? Never dim your light just to appease people who have been sitting in darkness for so long. That's one of the worst things you can possibly do. Stay true to who you are. Get comfortable being disliked, right? That's one of the greatest skills that we can possibly develop in this world because you have to understand this. The world is curated and not Well, I'm talking about the social aspect of our world, right? Our cultures, right? Our society is created to keep us in a cage. It's created to keep us in a box, right? There are many forces in this world, and I'm not only talking about like the government, so on and so forth. I'm talking about, even your family structure, friendships, right? These things are, a lot of them are created to basically create NPCs, basically create, generic people, people who keep themselves in a box, because if people can keep you in a box, they can easily control you, right? If people can keep you in a box, they can allow you to do whatever it is that they want you to do. And very often, you know, the closest people, to you are the people who are trying to keep you in that cage, are the people who are trying to keep you in that box, right? Some of our own family, some of our own friends, they don't want us to be walking in our authentic identity. And so very often they say certain negative things into us, right? They say certain negative things about us because they are afraid that we will begin to walk in our light. And our light will shine so bright that it will attract the right people to us. And they are afraid of losing us. Never allow yourself to just go with the flow of someone else. Never keep yourself in that box, right? Get comfortable being disliked. Once I got to the point in which I realized that no one was going to accept me like I accept myself. And this is not to say, other people might not see me and like me and, and so on and so forth. But no one was going to accept me like I can, because no one truly knows who I am, right? No one, you know, for 24 hours, I only have myself. I can have people around me for a short period of time, but for the most part, I'm by myself, right? And so expecting myself to be liked by people, especially people that I don't even know, expecting people to find value in me, expecting people to love me is something that I had to do away with, right? I had to develop this mindset in which I had no expectation of anyone else. If someone liked me, sure, I give them my love as well. And if someone didn't like me, then I'm comfortable with that. Because I've gotten to a place in which I'm not saying I'm perfect, right? But I've gotten to a place in which I've truly began to really accept myself. I'm no longer in a mindset in which I'm trying to, I guess, be validated by the world, right? I was for a period of time, but I've gotten so used to being me that whoever doesn't like me, I'm okay with that, right? It could be family, it could be friends, it could be, romantic prospects, it could be anyone, right? Very often when people don't like us, we start to believe that there's something wrong with who we are. Someone doesn't like us, okay, we say, maybe there's something wrong with me, right? Maybe I don't look good enough. Maybe my personality is boring, and overall there's just something wrong with who I am, right? But I've learned to never truly take things personal. Never truly take anything personal that anyone does, right? Because like I've said so many times and on so many occasions, people don't see you for who you truly are. They see you, based on their own perception, based on their own programming, based on their own ideology, and very often a lot of the ways in which they view the world don't even come from them. It comes from, their upbringing, right? It comes from a myriad of things, right? And so if you're expecting everyone to like you, if you begin to take things personal when someone doesn't like you, and you begin to stifle who you truly are, and you begin to dim your light, then you are messing up, right? You have to be comfortable with being disliked. You have to be comfortable with staying true to who you are, regardless of what anyone says. That's one of the most important things in this life, right? I really believe that a life that isn't authentic, right? A life that isn't being lived by the real you isn't no life at all. What's the point of being here if you're wearing a mask? What's the point of being here if you're showing up as someone else, right? That's bullshit. And we have so many forces in this world trying to keep us in that cage, just so that they can control us, right? You gotta be comfortable with being this life. And the truth is that no matter how weird you think you are, no matter how odd you think you are, there are going to be people in this world who like you, right? There are going to be. It's just that very often we don't come across those people. And a lot of us don't get the chance to come across those people because we're pretending to be someone else, right? How can you meet people who truly like you if you don't present your authentic selves to those people, right? That's kind of crazy. A damn water drop. How can you meet people who love the real you if you're pretending to be someone else? You got to stay true to who you are so that the people who are looking for you can find you. And very often, right, it gets so deep to the point in which very often if you show up as your true selves or as your true self and you meet someone, right, and they see you basking in your authenticity, you begin to inspire them to start being themselves. And I've experienced that in my own life, right? Once I began to walk in my light, I realized that a lot of people around me just, and obviously these people have to somewhat, some to some degree like me or, like being my company. But I began to realize that once I started to show up as myself, I began to bring the best out of people, right? They they realized that I was being myself to the core, and they realized that they didn't have to wear that mask anymore. And they felt comfortable being themselves as well. That's the power of authenticity. Authenticity has the power to inspire people. It has the power to, show people that you don't have to go through life putting on a mask. You don't have to go through life, being someone else. Your life truly begins at your ability to show up to the world as yourself, regardless of any consequences, right? Quote unquote consequences that you think might happen, right? That's when truly life begins. You truly can't be a light unto others until you ignite your own, right? The only way you can show up in this world and help to foster change is if you ignite your own flame, and that begins with being yourself. That begins with staying true to who you are. That begins with saying, I'm not gonna change myself just because someone says they don't like me, right? I'm gonna stay true to me. That's when you begin to walk in your light. And that's when you can show up to other people and they see you basking in your authenticity. They see you basking on who you truly are. And they say to themselves, if he can do it, if she can do it, I can do it too. Right? That's when that happens. And it even goes back to what I always say, like the only way you can love others is if you love yourself. The only way in which you can, I guess, add to the happiness of other people, right? Not make others happy, but you can add to their happiness, right? You can share your happiness with them, is if you're happy internally. But how can you be happy being someone else? That's stifling. I remember I used to do that, and I felt like my soul was being sucked out of my fucking body, right? I felt like my soul was being crushed. In the Bible, I think when Jesus said, "What profits a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul?" And it applies to this situation. How do you profit from being surrounded by hundreds of people, thousands of people, if your soul, your authenticity Your light, your love is being stifled. It's pointless, right? You gotta be comfortable with being disliked. That's one of, if not the most important skill in this world. And your authenticity creates the path for abundance to come into your life and flow into your life, right? Once you start being yourself, that thing, that idea, that business, that job, that career, that YouTube channel, whatever it is that you have in mind to do, whatever gift that you have to give, once you get comfortable with being disliked, you show up to the world and you give it without fear, without the fear that someone might see it and laugh at you, without the fear that someone might see it and not like it, right? Once you start being yourself, once you get comfortable with being disliked, that cage that you've created around yourself, it falls. It slowly falls. I've experienced that. This YouTube channel is me in my highest form of authenticity. If I wasn't, I guess, comfortable being disliked, then I probably wouldn't create this YouTube channel. And I'm sure a lot of people come across my videos and they don't like them. I'm sure a lot of people, they don't connect with me on that level. But I'm not looking for everyone to like me, you know what I'm saying? I'm not looking to, you know, be liked by everyone. I'm looking for the people who want to connect with me, the real me, you know what I'm saying? And that begins with the courage to be disliked. This might seem and this might sound weird, but I've gotten to the point in my life that if I was to go the rest of my life with no one who truly liked me, I still think I would live a good life, an excellent life, a fruitful life, right? That's how I feel. That's truly how I'm starting to feel. Because I've gotten to a point in which, you know, I'm really starting to love myself. Obviously, there's a lot of work for me to do. And when it comes on to life, life is also about unlearning certain negative thoughts, not thought patterns, right? Unlearning certain ways of thinking, unlearning certain habits, right? And obviously, I have a lot of that to do. But I'm also at a place in my life in which I am comfortable with being me. I am comfortable with showing up to myself. I'm showing up to the world, excuse me, as myself, right? And that's what I wish for everyone. This world doesn't need more zombies, right? This world doesn't need more NPCs and people who are trying to fall in line. This world, did I say these worlds? That's crazy. This world needs people who aren't afraid of being themselves. That's what this world needs. Everything that you see in this world, right? Every invention, every business, every idea came from the minds of people who weren't afraid of being themselves. I'm sure in the moment people laughed at them. Whenever there's someone that shows up to society and they don't fall into the paradigm that society has created, people very often laugh at them. People very often call them weird and odd and, you know, creeps and weirdos. But then you look 10, 15, 20, 30 years, 2,000 years like Jesus, for example, And those people are celebrated. Those people are revered. So if you say to yourself, I'm going to fall in line with society, then that thing that you can give to the future generation, you deny them of that thing. You deny them of that gift. If you say I'm going to fall in line with society has or what society expects of me, right? Tripping over my damn words. You withhold what you're meant to give to the world. I made a video recently and I said that you never truly know whose life your gift is going to change. You never truly know who you're going to impact by being the real you. At one point in my life, I thought that no one would benefit from me being myself. And this is not, to brag or anything, but I'm at a point in my life in which I'm able to hold a conversation with someone. And sometimes I forget I say certain things to people, right? And they come back to me a year or two after and they say, they thank me for what I said to them in that moment. And in that moment, that was just me being myself. That was me not being afraid to express my thoughts, express how I feel, you know, and merely from that, I gave them a new perspective that they could use to change and implement in their lives, right? Just from me saying, I'm gonna stay true to me, I'm gonna express myself, I'm gonna be me, and I'm gonna say something to this person, and whether or not they like what I say, it doesn't matter. I'm just going by what my heart says, right? That was me being real, and I wasn't thinking of whether that person, you know, was going to like me or not. I remember at work, I said this thing to this girl, and that was just me being real, right? Obviously, I'm not gonna say what I said to her. That was me being real. And the following day, she came to me and she said, "I really respect what you said to me. No one has ever had the courage to say that to me before, and I respect you from saying that, right?" And that's what she said to me. That's something that she needed to hear. And so, if I was afraid of expressing myself, if I was afraid of being myself, then she probably couldn't benefit from me giving that word of advice or me saying that thing to her, right? She couldn't. That's the power of being yourself. And so I don't really want to make this a long video because the rain is about to fall again. This is crazy. I'm trying to, get home before it actually starts falling again. If it does, I'm screwed because I don't have an umbrella. But to close and to end this video, if you're at a point in your life in this moment in which you've began your self-love journey, you've began to start embracing who you truly are, or maybe you've gotten to a place in which you've realized that you being yourself is, I guess, offending some people and they don't like it, they don't like you. If you're at this point and you're experiencing this, or you haven't experienced this as well, which you will, you have to be comfortable with being disliked. Not everyone is going to like you. Not everyone should like you. And if everyone likes you, that's a problem, right? I think it was Aristotle that says, a friend to all is a friend to none. If everyone likes you, that means you're flip-flopping. That means you're molding who you are to fit that person right in front of you, right? There's something wrong if everyone likes you. Being yourself is going to, I guess, repel some people. You're gonna push some people away, and it's gonna bring some people close to you. But you shouldn't be concerned who who you're pushing away by being yourself, right? Only accept the people who like you for you. And you even have to transcend that as well. You have to be so comfortable that if no one likes you for being you, you're comfortable with being yourself as well. You're comfortable with yourself as well if no one likes you. That's the point we all have to get to. That's the point we all have to strive to, achieve, right? Don't allow the words and the actions of other people to keep the real you in a cage. Truly be comfortable with being this life. Everything that you expect from this world, all the abundance, all the happiness, all the peace, all the joy, all the love that you desire, comes from being yourself. That romantic partner that you're looking for, if you're pretending to be someone else, then you're not going to have a good relationship. And even if you do rock with them for a little while, it won't be long until the real you starts to come out, and they're going to look at you crazy. They're going to look at you like, who is this person? This wasn't who you are when I first met you. So did they really like you, or did they like who you were pretending to be? You have to ask yourself that question. Never mold who you are to fit what someone else wants. Stay true to who you are. Walk in your light. Love yourself. Become your own source. Give to the world whatever it is that give to yourself whatever it is that you're expecting from everyone else, and being comfortable with being the real you. Because if you can't go to this world being the real you, then you are truly living a meaningless life, right? A life that truly isn't worth it, right? Our life begins at our ability to not only be ourselves, but love who we truly are as well. So, thank you guys for watching. Probably gonna be like a 27-minute video. That's crazy. Well, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here with me. If you made it this far, I appreciate it. And take care of yourselves. Give yourselves a little bit of love every day, like I always say. Keep walking in the light that is meant for you, and you are one of one. No one is you. No one can ever be you. No one ever, you know, comes close to being you, right? No matter how similar you think you are to a person, you are different, right? Because no one is you, and that's a blessing. That's a beautiful thing. So yeah, take care of yourselves, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace and blessings.